Session today.
Good evening.
So now, yesterday we have talked about different ERPs and what are the advantages. So yesterday we are not able to send the recording session to everybody because we don't have your email address and phone numbers. Please enter your phone number and email ID in the chat window so that tomorrow we can send this recording sessions, whatever we have done yesterday and today. Okay, so please drop your phone number and email ID in the chat window so that we can send and we can easily communicate with everybody. Thanks. So yesterday we have discussed about different ERPs and what are the environments. We have cloud environment and on-premises. What are the differences between the cloud and on-premises, advantages and disadvantages. And in the cloud also again two different models, SaaS model and PaaS model, and on-premises environment. We have discussed this, and we have discussed about our course. What are the syllabus we are going to cover in financials? Sorry, HCM functional. We are going to cover 4 modules: global HR, payroll, options management, talent management. These are the 4 modules we are going to discuss functionally 100%. Then this is the technical part we are going to discuss for techno-functional. People who are attending only functional, these 4 modules and also this roles and approval process. Only this it will be discussed. Okay, fine. So now today date is 20th September 2016. This Excel sheet also I will be sharing with your email IDs, okay, so that you can refer when you are going through it. Fine. So now today we are going to talk about implementation project. Implementation project. So whenever we are working with in Oracle Fusion applications, we are going to create an implementation project. What is meant by implementation project? So implementation project is nothing but how we are going to implement Fusion applications to the client. Nothing but how we are going to do the setups, how we are going to do the setups to the client, how we are going to do the complete setups. We call it as a FSM also. We call it as FSM also. Functional Setup Manager. Functional Setup Manager. We call it as Functional Setup Manager. Okay, we call it as Functional Setup Manager. So today we'll discuss how to create an implementation project. Implementation project contains group of offerings. Group of offerings. Nothing but what are the features we are going to implement to the client. Features are nothing but a modules. Features are nothing but a modules. Yesterday we discussed, right, comparison between EBS and Fusion applications. In EBS we used to call it as domains. In Oracle Fusion we call it as offerings. There we call it as modules. Here we call it as features. There we used to call menus. Here we call it as task list. There we call it as a forms, DTK form or OAF pages. Here we call it as a task. One task is nothing but one page. Here complete 100% ADF pages. Entire Fusion applications is developed by using the ADF page. Entire Fusion applications is developed by using the ADF page. By using the ADF pages. Okay. So now we are going to check how to connect to Fusion applications. Okay, let's connect to the server. open any web browser. Generally we connect through Mozilla application. So now we are connecting to Oracle Fusion applications. You have to enter username and password. Enter username and password. Connect. Try again. Seems there is some problem in the server. Fine. So now we have connected to the application. Here we'll come to know which user has connected to the application. These all are just work lists like notifications. What are the notifications we have received for approvals? These all are any assignment we have done. These are. So let's go to the username. Click here. Click here. There is option here, setup and maintenance. Setup and maintenance. So if we have this option, setup and maintenance, then only we can go for doing the functional setups, whether financial modules or SCM or HCM or CRM. Any modules, complete setups will do from here only. It is just like a AOL, application object library. In EBS we have similar, we have here setup and maintenance. Go to setup and maintenance. Go to setup and maintenance. First, here we can find setup and maintenances. What are the tasks we'll be doing? Implementation tasks and setup data export and import. Nothing but inbound and outbound interfaces. Implementation objects, technology objects, and technology registration. These are. Let's go to getting started. So go to getting started option. Then we'll come to know what are the offerings. What are the offerings are there in this server. What are the offerings we have in this server. So now we can implement financials offering, sales offering, order management offering, material management and logistics, marketing, Fusion accounting hub, procurement, product management, compensation management, enterprise contracts. This all will find here, and also we will find here workforce deployment, workforce development. These two combination is nothing but a HCM, human capital management. Workforce deployment, workforce development. That's what we discussed yesterday, right? We discussed yesterday this workforce deployment and workforce development. This is a combination of all deployment modules. This is a combination of all development modules. Okay. Workforce is nothing but our persons, employees, employee development options. So here we'll find what are the offerings we have in the current instance. Now we are going for manage implementation project. What is implementation project? Implementation project is nothing but group of offerings. Out of all these offerings, whatever the offerings and features we want to implement to the client, that we are going to keep it in the implementation project. Okay. Financial manager, financial functional consultant will group the financials offerings. SCM functional consultant will go for group the procurement and SCM supply chain management accounting options. You will be going for grouping. As a HCM functional consultant, human capital management, we are going for group the workforce deployment and workforce development. Workforce deployment and workforce development we are going to work. Okay, let's go to manage implementation project. Nothing but create implementation project. When we go to manage implementation project, it will shows the implementation projects which are already created. Whenever we open any ADF page, whenever we open any ADF page in Fusion applications, two options will find: search region, search result. We can search the values here itself, and we can go for create the values here itself. We can go for create the values here itself. Maximum ADF pages we'll find here. In Oracle EBS, we need to have two forms. One is to create, another one is to search. For example, in purchasing module, if we take requisitions, we used to have two forms. One is requisitions, another one is requisition summary. Requisitions is to create, requisition summary is for search. But in Fusion applications, in the same task, means in the same page, we can create and we can go for search. We can go for search. So now we can minimize this navigator. Whenever we want, again we can choose. Now we have minimized. Whenever we want, again we can click here. So these are the implementation projects which are already created by some users. Some users. Just 1 second, I'll be back, please. Thank you. Fine. So these are the implementation projects already created by all these users. Now we are going to create new project. Let's go to create. Let's go to create. So here we'll give the implementation project name and project code, a description. What is the status of the project? We have not started. Yes, Venkat, it seems everybody is able to hear.
Yes, yes, Chandra.
I think that's a problem from Venkat end.
Venkat is offline now, I think so.
Fine. So enter.
Chandra, I'm able to hear you.
Thank you, thank you. So here we will enter the implementation project name of the implementation project, and code. We can give any code. Let me give the implementation project name as more retail industry, retail project, more retail project, and code. So we'll get by default this code. If we want to change, we can change. And this project we are going to assign. This project we are going to assign to the users. And what is the project start date and finish date, that we will mention. Deadlines for the project. Click next button. This is general information. Give the project implementation project name and code and the description. Click next button. Now we can see here whatever the offerings are implemented in the current server. Now we need to select what are the offerings we want to implement to the client. Nothing but what are the features. Nothing but a modules. What are the modules we would like to implement to the client? That we have to select. Yesterday we discussed, right? Workforce deployment, workforce development. Let's choose deployment. Workforce deployment. Whenever we select workforce deployment offerings, whenever we select workforce deployment offerings, automatically it will show us what are the features we have here. Nothing but what are the modules we have here. What are the modules we have? Payroll, absence management, workforce predictions, individual compensation, time and labor, workforce profiles, network at work, workforce life cycle management. This will find here. So let me select payroll, and payroll also, again we have US payroll, UK payroll, Chinese payroll, Emirates, Saudi Arabian, other payroll legislations. Let's go for US payroll. One module we have selected, means one feature we want to implement. Then absence management, another feature. This two we have selected from workforce deployment. Okay, any other features if we are implementing, like time and labor, workforce profiles or network at work, that we can choose. Then what about reports, BI analytics and reports, that we'll discuss later. Now it's not required. Let's go for another offering, workforce development. Let's go for another offering, workforce development. Okay, so in the workforce development offering, what are the features you want? Talent management. Talent review is nothing but a talent management. Then we have goal management, questionnaire management, performance management, succession management. Those are not required now. Okay, so talent management. How many features we have selected, means how many modules we have selected? 3 modules we have selected. One is payroll, another one is absence management, another one is talent management, another one is talent management. Then what about global HR? As we discussed that we are going to cover 4, right? Now I am able to select payroll, absence management, talent management. What about global HR? That we don't need to select. Automatically global HR will be available in your implementation project. We don't need to select. Automatically we will get. Automatically we will get. Okay. Click save and open the project, or save and close the project. So I'm going to save and close the project. Now we have created an implementation project. In the implementation project, we have included the offerings. We have included the offerings, whatever we want. So where is our project? Here. More retail project. Click this. Now, what are the offerings we have selected? 2 offerings, workforce deployment, workforce development. Select this. Now we can see here, we have selected payroll, right? Yes, these all are related to payroll module. Payroll legislations, payrolls, payroll elements, security for payroll. And this is about global HR. This is about global HR. These 2 task lists are related for global HR. This is about absence management. This is about absence management. These are just reporting. Transactional business intelligence configurations are nothing but reporting purpose. So that is workforce deployment. In workforce development, we have selected only talent management. Automatically we'll get global HR. So global HR is common if we go to development or deployment. So whenever client go for development or deployment, by default we'll get a global HR. So by default we'll get a global HR. Okay. Now this is offerings. Inside of this, these are features, nothing but a modules. Inside of this, we'll find a task list. Inside of this, we'll find the tasks. Inside of this, we'll find the task. This is the task. If we click this icon, automatically task will be opened. Task is nothing but a page. Task is nothing but a page. ADF page. Task is nothing but a page PDF. Cancel it. Now we'll be back into the project. Let me close the project and log out and log in so that it will be clear for you navigation point of view. How to log out from the current user? Go to username, sign out. Go to username and sign out. So let's log into the applications. Open Mozilla application. Enter username and password. Now go to username, setup and maintenance. Go to username, setup and maintenance. Go to manage implementation projects. If we want to check only our projects, go to this tab. Go to implementation project tab. We can see the implementation projects which are created by current user. Implementation projects which are created by current user. These all projects I have created with my username. Okay. If we want to check other implementation projects also, go to manage implementation projects. Go to manage implementation projects. Now we can see other users implementation projects also. Other users implementation projects also we can check here. We can check here. Click done button. The task will be closed. Now go to implementation project. We can search for our implementation project. Enter the name. This is not a case sensitive. We can enter capital letter and small letter. Percentage also not required. Straight away we can enter. Click the search. If we want to enter the next word search, we required percentage, otherwise not required. Okay. So enter the project name and click arrow mark, search. Now this is our project. More retail project. How many setups we have to do in this project? 534 setups we have to complete. It is created and assigned to this person. Okay. So this will give the complete project status to the project manager. Whoever is handling this Fusion Applications project, that project manager can easily find what is the status of the project. How many tasks we have to complete, how many tasks we have assigned to other users in the team. For example, we have 3 members of team in the project. Now the manager can assign the tasks to the other users. Nothing but a task is nothing but one setup. For example, create employee is a task. Okay, transfer employee is a task. Create a business unit is a task. Like that, we have the complete tasks, nothing but a setups. We can assign all these tasks to the users. Then users are nothing but our employees, our consultants, Fusion consultants. They are going to work with the tasks. As soon as task is completed, they will set the status. Now the project manager can track the entire project. What is the status of the project and how many tasks are completed. Now we'll check how to assign the task to the users. Go to implementation project. Now we are in the implementation project called more retail project. Okay. And what are the offerings we have? These two. Select. And what are the features we have? This. And this is the task list, and these are the tasks. Now this task is already assigned to the current user. Now Sandeep, it seems a problem from your end. Okay, so now go to the task and how to assign this task to the team members. Okay, select the task. There is a button here, assign task, assign task. So this who will assign the tasks to the users? Project manager, whoever is going to handle the Fusion Applications project, that person is going to assign the tasks to the team members. Nothing but a functional consultants or technical consultant who are working in that project, so that will be assigned. So we'll mention the due date, saying that this task has to be completed by so and so user on or before, and comments also can be mentioned. Okay. So whenever user complete the task, he can go for change the status. Whenever user complete the task, he can change the status. Project is in progress. And once the task is completed, execution frozen, completed with errors and different notes, and history will be maintained. It means who has worked on this task earlier, who is working in this task right now. Like this is to maintain the entire project status. Okay, so this we call it as a FSM, functional setup manager. All the functional setups we are going to do from here. It's a functional setup manager. It's a functional setup manager. Generally in EBS or PeopleSoft or another ERPs, how we will track the project status? We will use the separate tools, okay, third-party tools, to find what are the tasks we have assigned to the users, and what is the status of the task, who has completed, and what are the comments, and what is the history of that task, means to whom we have assigned initially, when we have assigned, what was the problem, why he was not able to complete the task, then to whom again we have assigned. Like that, to track the project status, we used to have the separate tools. Okay, but in Oracle Fusion applications, okay, so the complete project will be handled, means the entire project status can be monitored from this window, from this FSM, from functional setup manager. We can go for handle it. From functional setup manager, we can go for handle it. Okay, so that is about implementation project. How to create an implementation project. Okay, how to find our implementation project. So what is meant by implementation project? Implementation project is nothing but group of offerings, whatever we are going to implement to the client. In offerings also, we will have the features, nothing but a modules. Inside of the feature, we'll find the task list. This is a task list. Inside of this task list, we'll find the tasks. We are going to assign this task to the users. Okay. So that is about implementation project. Okay. So any doubts here in the implementation project creation and search? What is meant by work? What is meant by offering? What is meant by features? What is meant by task list? And what is meant by task? Any doubts here? Please let me know. I can clarify. Okay. So now
Chandra Shankar here.
Yes, tell me, Shankar.
Yeah, Chandra Shankar. After implementation, end of the day, business wanted to see that whatever results we have seen, right? So being being a user, how the display will be to the user, like how we can see the data, whatever you want, and how we can see that, like the view of that end user.
Yes. Like in Oracle, are you from EBS background?
Yeah, from I'm HCM consultant.
Okay. In Oracle applications, we will assign the responsibilities to the users. so that
Correct,
user
yes.
will log in and select the responsibility, he can get the menu, right? So here
Yeah, that is
in
what we are
Fusion,
doing.
we will be assigning the roles. We will be assigning the roles to the user. Based on the role, you will get a menu here. This is what the menu. Whenever we
Oh,
assign
okay.
the role, yes, whenever we assign the role to the user, then user can go with finding that menu. User can find the
Fine.
that menu, that particular menu.
This all can be restricted, right?
Yes,
As like ABS is all restricted views, right?
yes,
Whatever we want it to be displayed, those we can restrict.
yes. For example, if I assign the payroll role, then user can see payroll options. If I assign the sales
Within
role,
that also we can restrict.
yes, within that also again, for example, in the payroll also, I don't want a checklist option. I don't want to show this
We can
checklist
restrict.
option. Yes, we can go for hide this checklist option. Here everything will be executed based on the roles, based on the roles. That's what our this
Understood.
role based
Understood.
access
Thank
control, role based access control. Okay.
you. Understood. Thank you.
Any other doubts?
Here security profile concept is there.
Yes, we have security profiles. Yes, we have security profile, but that is there in the different format. We'll be creating not site level application or user that level, but here also we'll be creating the payroll security profile and we'll assign that. We'll discuss that. No problem.
Okay.
So this is just navigation, how we can navigate into the Fusion applications, how we can go for create the implementation project, how we can go for create the implementation project. Okay. So now first what we will do is when we start Fusion applications, first we are going to start with global HR. Global HR module we are going to start. First we'll define the enterprise structure operator. Just give me 1 second. This is the flow of global HR. Okay. I'll share this Excel sheet also with you. These are the tasks we are going to perform in the global HR. Okay. So first we are here. Just now we have completed how to create an implementation project. So creating implementation project is common in any domain. It means in HCM or in financials or in SCM or in CRM. First implementation project has to be created. In that we have to include whatever offerings we want to implement to the client. Whatever offerings we want to implement to the client. Okay. So just now we have created one implementation project and we have included, yes, we want to implement workforce deployment and development. In the workforce deployment, 3 modules we have selected. What are the 3 modules? Global HR, this is global HR, two options, and then payroll, this all comes under payroll, and then options management. Then we'll go for workforce development. We go for workforce development. Here we'll find talent management. By default, we'll get global HR here as well as here also. So in the development and deployment, in both features, in both offerings, we'll get this global HR option. That's not a problem. That's not a problem. So now we are going to talk about
One
the,
question.
yes, tell me.
Yeah, like
Yes, Shiva.
who will give this offering?
Yes.
Is it Oracle or
Yes, Oracle only. See, whenever
who
we
will give?
client is going to interact with Oracle Corporation company and they'll get subscription for the offerings. Whatever the offerings client require, that they have to pay the subscription fees and they have to get the subscription access. Subscription access. There are 2 types, right? Subscription and license. Subscription means cloud environment. License means on premises. You are going to buy the licensed software and you are going to install in our server. So these offerings are given by the Oracle. So how to find what are the offerings we have the access, subscription access is, we have to go to setup and maintenance here. Setup and maintenance, getting started, it will show you, yes, what are the offerings you have subscribed. So this all we have to pay the money to Oracle Corporation and get the subscription. Whenever we install the software, whenever we get the access to the Oracle Cloud, they will give the access. For example, we are subscribed for only HCM, then we'll find only these two offerings. In that also, client has subscribed only for global HR and payroll, then we'll find only this one. Within that also only two features, nothing but two modules we'll find. Okay, okay, Shiva? Yes.
Fine.
Do we have expiry for offerings?
Expiration is like, Oracle, like every year we will, yearly once we will pay the money and buy it, and every year we have to go for renewal. That is as usual. Yearly payment are 3 years or 5 years, whatever the agreement is having with the clients. Definitely there will be expiration. Every time we have to go for renewal, right? Either yearly or every 3 years. It's up to the client relation with the Oracle company. Okay.
Chandra Venkat here.
Yes,
I
Venkat.
have a doubt. Now in the homepage we are seeing all the offerings, right? Like financial offering, HCM offering, supply chain offering.
Yes.
So is it for all the consultants it will be like this only? Because see, I want to see only HCM offerings.
That's what, like
In that case,
this here, whenever this is a cloud instance, right? Whenever we connect to the cloud, whatever the offerings you have the access, that we can see. It's not like username, but here when we are creating the username, we can assign some roles. Based on that role, we can go for it. But once we give this role, like implementation role, okay, he can see all the offerings. User can access all the offerings.
so like all the consultants has to be given this implementation role, right? For the configurations to be done.
Yes.
So in that case, like how to restrict the accessibility? Like what I mean is like for certain things like financial setups and all, which I should not do. Example. So
Okay.
how can we restrict?
Then what we have to do is, once we create an implementation project, we have to assign that implementation project to the user. We'll assign the implementation project to the user, and this configure offering we have to hide. So user can go to implementation project. He cannot create an implementation project. So we have the role that we can just assign the implementation project to the user. User can go through that implementation project. He cannot create a new implementation project. I don't want to allow the user create new implementation, because if you go for creating the new implementation project, he can choose other offerings also. That's why I'll restrict the role, saying that this user has to use the existing implementation project. That way we can do it. When we are talking about the roles, we'll discuss that. Okay.
Okay, okay.
Chandra, like,
Yes.
how about data security here?
It's all based on the role only. It's all based on the role. Whenever data roles we have, for example, in EBS, whenever we assign an operating unit, user can access only that operating unit data, right?
Yes, yes, yeah.
Same way here we have the data roles.
No, like, no, something have done some customization and given to Oracle to deploy.
Okay.
At the time, how is it?
So that's like actually DBA level. Even I don't have the idea. Functional setup point of view, we don't need to contact the DBA, because we'll straight away connect to the application and do the functional setups. As you are asking is this one, like PaaS model. In the PaaS model, how we will interact with the Oracle. Generally, they'll give you the access to the folders. Like in EBS, how whenever we develop new report or new forms, where do we place it in custom top? Some folder, right? 12.0.0 reports US folder or forms US folder. Like that, paths will be given by the Oracle. There we have to keep our customizations and go ahead with the executions. That way we have to do it. It's not like, okay, we'll send our source code or exe code to the Oracle DBA. He will deploy every time. They'll be given the access to our custom top. There we will be working. So in the SaaS model, there is no question of interacting with the DBA unless if there are any patches. Okay. So if there are any patches or any other things are there, DBA will come into the picture. So complete whatever setups we are doing, we will directly deploy in the SaaS model directly here. Okay. So now we are going for next enterprise structure configurator. Geographics we'll discuss in the next session. We can easily understand that time. Now we are talking about enterprise structure configuration. It's nothing but a multi-arg structure in EBS. In EBS, we'll define the multi-arg structure, right? Same way, here we are going to define the enterprise structure configurator. So if we compare with the EBS, let's say I'm talking about the EBS point of view, but we cannot compare 100% with EBS. But some of the things, yes, for easy understanding purpose, we can compare with EBS. Okay. So in EBS, how we'll define the multi-arg? First, we'll define the business groups. First, we'll define the business group. Then we'll go for define the legal entity. Then we'll go for ledger, legal entity, operating unit, inventory organization. This is the organization structure. Then within the inventory, we'll find sub-inventories, locations, and items. That is the next level. But whereas in Oracle Fusion, we'll find first enterprise. First, we'll find the enterprise. Then within the enterprise, we are going to define the divisions. We are going to define the divisions. Okay. Then we'll go for legal entities. We'll go for legal entities. Within that, business units. Within that, business units. Under the business unit, reference data sets. Reference data set. Then we'll go for set assignment to the business units, set assignment to the locations. This is the enterprise structure model we are going to define. Okay. So here some of the things we can compare, but we cannot compare the 100% R12 multi-arg structure here. So here enterprise is nothing but name of the company. For example, let me give you one simple scenario. Let's say Reliance company is there. They have a business in India and US, Reliance India and Reliance US. Reliance US. In India, they have legal entity, India legal entity, and US legal entity. And in India legal entity, let's say they have a business unit, SR Nagar and High Tech City, Secunderabad, US California, Los Angeles, and Redwood City. Like this, they have a business. So this is nothing but an enterprise. This is nothing but an enterprise, Reliance. So it's in a top level organization where we will just create enterprise name. We don't do any setups here. Okay. So we'll just create an enterprise. This is an enterprise. So Reliance is the enterprise here we are going to define. So within the Reliance, the company want to maintain the India business is separate, India division and US division. So division is just for grouping our business for reporting purpose, but this is not mandatory. Divisions are not mandatory, it's an optional concept. Divisions are not mandatory, it is an optional concept. So now client want to maintain India business is separate and US business is separate. They would like to maintain two divisions for reporting purpose, to maintain the profit and loss division wise, we can have two divisions, India division and US division. So it is not mandatory, create the divisions, create the divisions. Next, obviously legal entities, we know that, right? What is legal entity? Legal entity is nothing but a legal organization where the company is going to prepare the tax documents and submit to the government. So if we are doing the business in India, obviously I have to submit my company registration, legal information to the government of India. So I have to explain where I am starting the business, location, address, physical location, this all I have to submit to the government. It's a legal entity. So here in this example, we require two legal entities. One legal entity is used to maintain the India business. Another legal entity is used to maintain the US business. So two legal entities are required. Then under the India legal entity, within the legal entity India, we have three business units: SR Nagar, High-Tech City and Secunderabad. These are the three business units. So business units are nothing but a branches. In our language we can call it as a branches. In EBS we can compare that operating units and business units. In Fusion we call it as a business units. In EBS we call it as a operating units. Okay. So how many business units we have to create? Total 6. 3 business units under India legal entity, 3 business units under US legal entity. So these 3 business units, business taxes and everything will file in India legal entity and submit to Indian government. And whatever the business we do in these business units will file the taxes through this legal entity and submit to US government. So that is simple enterprise structure. Within the business unit, then we got a new concept called reference data sets. What is reference data set? This concept we don't have in e-business. Reference data set concept is inherited from PeopleSoft ERP. In PeopleSoft ERP, we have a concept called set ID. So that concept is implemented in the Fusion applications. Now we'll talk about what is reference data set. What is?
Sorry for disturbance.
Yes, tell me.
Here you told that legal entity is India only one.
Yes.
And the branches are Nagar, High-Tech City and Secunderabad.
Yes.
If that branches are Mumbai location, different states,
no problem.
Then what can we do? Only one legal entities and different legal entities.
Yes, it depends on the government of India rules and regulations. For example, in India, if I do the business in Hyderabad and Bangalore or in Mumbai, 3 locations, all the 3 locations business taxes I want to file from Mumbai.
But here different state, different taxes are there.
That's right. Then,
professional tax.
Then we have to define multiple legal entities. We have to define.
We can give.
Yes.
So each and every business units we have to define legal entities separate, right?
It's not like, for example, as I given here 3 business units which are located in Hyderabad, right? So in Hyderabad,
no,
if I
what I am telling that, no, my question is that different states, three places, SR Nagar, High-Tech and Secunderabad in same city,
yes.
same state.
Yes.
If New Delhi and Maharashtra and Karnataka and Hyderabad, suppose four state business units are there.
Okay.
So what can we have to do? Only one legal entities or different legal entities?
That's what. If we have different legal terms and conditions, we can go for different legal entities. If we say the legal terms are common in all the business units, you can keep it under the same legal entity. Definitely, if we have different taxes and other rules and payrolls are different, we have to go for multiple legal entities.
Yeah, because in Delhi, there is no professional tax.
Yes.
Hyderabad professional tax is there. So
yes, something rule based on the taxes, we have to decide how many legal entities are required for the client.
Okay. So client is given that information, right?
Definitely, they have to give the information, right? Based on that country, we have to understand their business, and then we'll suggest to the client, yes, you have to go with 3 legal entities. Under first legal entity, these are business units, we'll keep it. Second legal entity, another business unit, like that we'll mention it.
Okay, thank you.
Fine. So here we have the new concept called reference data set. Reference data set. What is meant by reference data set? What is meant by reference data set? So reference data set will group the information. It will group the information and share across the business units, and share across the business units. So reference data set is not something a organization. It is not an organization. It is a reference data set will group the information and share that information across the business units, across the business unit. What information it is going to group? Jobs information, grades information, departments information, locations information. These 4 things it is going to group and share across the business units, and share across the business units, and share across the business units. Okay. So here reference data set will be assigned to the business units. Once we create reference data set, we'll assign that to the business unit. We'll assign that to the business unit. So default we have one reference data set, that is common. Common set is there. So whenever we create one job in the common set, it is applicable for all the business unit. For example, client will say, in SR Nagar branch, I have 2 departments. Finance department is there, sales department is there. These 2 departments are there in SR Nagar, High Tech City, Secunderabad, California, Los Angeles, and Redwood City. In all the business units, we have these 2 departments. Then what I'll do is, while creating the department, finance department, I'll make it as a common set, so that whenever we make the department as a common set, whenever we create a department under common set, that is applicable for all the business units. That department will be available in all the business units. Okay. Now the client can go for create their own reference data set. Now I would like to maintain separate jobs, separate grades, separate departments and locations for the Hyderabad business units. So what we'll do is we'll create separate reference data set. When we are creating this reference data set, assign this reference data set to the business units. Okay. So reference data set is not an organization. It will just group some information and share that information across the business units. What information it will group? This 4. Only this 4 information in HCM, in human capital management. Reference data set concept we have in financials also. There it will group payments information, payment terms, okay, receivings, procurement, some other information. But we are working now as HCM, right? We are working now as HCM consultant. So that's why we are talking about only this. So in the HCM, human capital management, reference data set will have this following information only: jobs information, grade, department and location. So whenever we try to create a location, definitely system will ask us, this location comes under which reference data set? Will it come under common set? Will it come under Hyderabad reference data set? Common set means what is the meaning? That location is available for all the business units. Okay. So then Hyderabad reference data set you have created. So whenever we assign this reference data set to the business unit, that locations are applicable for that. Okay. So that is reference data set. Once we create reference data set, we have to assign that to the business units. And also we can assign the reference data sets to the locations. We can assign the reference data sets to the locations. Okay. So reference data is a set ID concept which is inherited from PeoplesSoft ERP. Okay. So this, once we create a reference data set, will assign to the business units and also will assign to the locations. So whatever jobs are there in that reference data set, that comes to that business unit. Whatever jobs, grades, departments and locations. Okay. So that is about enterprise structure configurator in Oracle Fusion HCM, Human Capital Management. Okay. So any doubts here, please let me know.
Can you explain again set assignments to locations?
Yes, sure. Okay, fine. So whenever we are implementing Fusion applications to the client, first we have to understand the client business, client organization architecture. So what is the enterprise name, where they have the business, in which countries, and what about their legal taxes and legal attachments with the governments, and where exactly they are doing the business, and what are the different departments they have, that we are going to capture the information. Okay. So within the business units, generally we'll get a departments, here. But I am not talking about the department. It not comes under enterprise structure model. So departments comes within the business unit. Within the business unit, we'll get the departments. Okay. So one enterprise will be created. We don't do any setups in the enterprise. We'll just create one enterprise and enter the enterprise information, legal authority, legal identifier. This information will maintain. Okay, this information will maintain in the enterprise. Then within the enterprise, we'll go for define the divisions. What is meant by division? Division is nothing but a area of the business. We can go for country wise one division, area wise. For example, in India, I would like to have South India division and North India division. We can also have that divisions. But again, divisions are not mandatory in the enterprise structure. It's up to the client requirement, how many divisions they would like to have. Otherwise, they can directly go for legal entities. They don't need to go for maintain any divisions. That is just for reporting purpose only. Divisions will be created. Within the divisions, we'll find the legal entities. We'll ask the client how many legal entities, legal organizations they require. We'll create legal entities. Then business units are nothing but where the complete business, either sales, purchase, marketing, payments, receivings, these all branches we call it as a business units. Like operating units in e-business, that will be created within the legal entities. In every business unit, we'll have the departments and jobs and all. Here now, what is reference data set? So reference data set is used to group the information. Why we are grouping that information? We want to share that information across the business unit. So what is the advantage of reference data set is it will reduce the duplicate. It will reduce the duplicate information, and also it will control the information. It will control the business units regarding the jobs, grades and departments and location. For example, finance and sales. These two departments are available in every business unit. For example, client is having 40 business units. Clients are having 40 business units. Then how many finance departments I have to create? 40. And sales department also 40 times I have to create. We have to log into SR Nagar business unit, create one finance and sales. Next, go to Hitech City business unit, again create the same departments. Instead of that, what I'll do is I'll create this department, finance department and sales department, as a common set. What is the meaning of common reference data set? Whatever the departments you are creating in the common set, those departments are available for all the business units. So that is the meaning of common set. So I don't need to create every time for every business unit. I'll create the department and select the set as common set. Common set means it is available for all the business units. There might be requirement. Yes, India business units are separate. US business units are separate. Then we can go for create our own reference data sets. We can go for create our own reference data sets, and we will assign that reference data sets to the business unit. There will be a job set, grade set, department set, location set. This we are going to create and assign to the business unit. So whenever we assign reference data set to the business unit, automatically that business unit can access whatever jobs are there in that reference data set will be available. Whatever grades are there, it will be available. Okay. So that is reference data set creation. It will group the information and share that information across the business units. What information it is going to group and share? This information: jobs names, grade names, department names, and location names. Only this. In financials also we have RDS concept, reference data set, but that is having some other information. This is only for HCM, human capital management. This is only for HCM, human capital management. Okay. So there is a seeded reference data set called common set. There are two sets actually, common and enterprise. I'm not talking about enterprise right now because you will get confused. Because enterprise set generally we don't use. Always we will use the common set. Okay. Why we don't use enterprise, I'll explain you later, no problem. So let's have that. There is common reference data set, which is seeded one. Whenever I create any job, for example, manager job I have created. While creating the manager job, I have selected set as common. Then what happened? That manager job is available for all the business units. Next, I am creating another job called clerk. I have created the clerk job and I selected this reference data set, Hyderabad reference data set. So that clerk job is not available for all the business unit. Whatever the business units are associated with this reference data set, that clerk job will be available. Not all, because while creating the clerk job, I have not selected common. I have selected Hyderabad reference data set. So whatever the business units are associated with reference data set, then that clerk job will be available. That's what this. Once we create a reference data set, we will assign to the business units, and we will also assign to the locations also. Location wise also we can maintain, but generally clients don't prefer location wise. For example, if I say in Hyderabad location, then that is applicable to all these three business units, because these three business units are located in Hyderabad. Okay, so that reference data set is applicable for all these three business units. But generally no client will go for location level, only BU level only. But this is the option given by Oracle. You can also assign your reference data set to the locations. But generally we will be assigning the reference data sets to the business units. Okay. So whenever we are creating the job or grade or department or location, definitely system will ask you this location is related to which reference data set, common set or other. Common means yes, that location is available for all. When you say Hyderabad reference data set, that location is applicable only for the business units which are associated with this reference data set. Okay, so that is reference data set and assigning the reference data set to the BUs and locations. We call it as a set ID concept. We call it this as a set ID concept. Okay, so when we are doing the practical, we will choose common set, couple of things. We will choose our own reference data set, couple of things. Definitely we'll find a difference. Whenever we create any job and I'll choose common, definitely you go to any business unit, that job name will be available. But when you create a job under Hyderabad reference data set. So that job will be available only for the business units which are associated with this reference data set, not other business units. Okay, so that we'll see practically when we are working with the reference data set. Most probably that will be day after tomorrow session. Tomorrow we'll be working with this reference enterprise structure. Practically when we start working, then you can easily understand. So at this moment you can understand reference data set is not an organization. Reference data set is not an organization. Okay, so it is a sharing. It's going to group the information and share the information across the business units. Across the business units. Okay, so let's. Any doubts here still? Okay, fine. So very good. So I'm going to end up the session today. So today what we have done practically, we have discussed how to create an implementation project. That's what practical we have done today. Let's go to the server. So we have connected to the Fusion applications today. Sim server is slow. Fine, no problem. So we have seen how to create an implementation project. Now this is enterprise structure configurator. What is the enterprise structure? Just like a multi-org structure in the e-business. Okay. So tomorrow we'll discuss this, how to create this structure. Same structure we'll implement in our server tomorrow. We'll see how to create enterprise, how to create divisions, how to create legal entities, how to create business units. Departments we don't do now, we'll create later. Mainly we'll be working with this, and also reference data sets. I have not written reference data set here because reference data set is not an organization. It is just information. It is just information to share across the business units and also locations. Let's forget about locations. We don't use that location. If you understand BU level, then automatically same thing application for the locations also. Same thing applicable for locations also. Okay. Yes. Yes, Shankar.
Chandra, for registering this class and enrollment, do you want me to come to your office, or is there any online,
It's not like today you have to.
I'm very near to your place because I'm staying at Khairatabad only. If you want me to, I'll come directly and meet you in office itself, in your office itself.
No, that's not.
Can I come tomorrow? Is it?
If you have any information you want to talk, you can come, no problem. Okay. So that's not an issue. You can come and talk with me. So this is an online class. What I need today from all the candidates is please drop your email ID and phone number in the chat window, so that yesterday class, whatever we have conducted session, today's session, both are recorded. It will be shared to your email IDs, so you can go through again sessions. Tomorrow also everybody can attend the class. After that, you have to confirm with Mr. Naresh. Mr. Naresh will call you day after tomorrow and get the confirmation from each and every person. So what you guys have to do is, please drop your email ID and phone number in the chat window. Mr. Naresh will contact you on Thursday. So tomorrow session also everybody can understand, can connect. Okay.
Going forward, can we record all the?
Yes,
going forward, can we record all the sessions? Yeah, because the reason behind, sometimes we may attend the class, we may miss also.
That I can understand.
And and while doing practice also, it may help us. This recorded session. So that's why
every session, yes, every session will be recorded and will given the access to you. But you cannot download that video. Okay. You can play that video from your Gmail ID, okay, and you can do the practice. Okay. So everything,
Okay.
because
That's
through there might be some technical issues. Now Sandeep has faced problem, some voice problem is there. Okay,
True,
sometimes,
true.
yeah. So these all things again, if you go through the session, this you can understand. Couple of times also you can go through, and the next session you can raise the questions also.
Yeah,
Okay.
that would be great. That is good enough to understand. Yeah.
Please drop your phone numbers and email IDs in the chat window,
Sure.
so that we'll share the yesterday session, today session, and tomorrow session also will be shared with you. Please drop only Gmail ID, no
Sure.
other email ID, because others, yahoo.com or some other, you may not be able to open the window. Okay. So then another one is Thursday, Mr. Naresh is the coordinator. He will contact each and every person. He will communicate and take the confirmation from everybody. Okay. Thank you.
During Sunday also you are taking class, or
No,
if you don't mind?